we regret to inform you that there will not be an episode of Vaguely Scientific this week. What follows is something else entirely. No matter what it sounds like and how confident you are to the contrary, I can assure you, this is not Vaguely Scientific. I am not Derek. I don't know where he is, but he's definitely not me. And nobody is joining me today. Certainly not Jim, who is undoubtedly not a scientist. Hi, Jim.
Who?
And also, hi, Justin.
I think I might be on the wrong show.
Wait, why?
Is there ever a wrong show to be on?
I mean, yeah.
It's the one that he's on all the time.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be on Survivor. I would get malaria immediately.
So I don't know what we're doing here, but one thing I can tell you for sure is that we are not on a show where listeners send in questions to hear our vaguely scientific answers, because we would probably get every single one of those answers wrong. So instead, why don't we play a game of science, fact, or fiction?
All right. So if you've never heard one of our April Fools episodes before, which we are not doing.
We're not doing.
No, we've never done one of these before. Anyway, the rules are very simple. We are doing two truths and a lie, but with science facts, and one of these facts is a lie. And at the end of the show, we're going to reveal which one is which.
Is this another, I stepped into the wrong universe on the podcast episodes again? Because I feel like I should have been here.
I mean, you were here last year, but you kind of spaced out, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, last year was the first year we did an April Fool's episode.
Yeah, I assumed your mic fell into a sink or something and got wet.
I mean, that's plausible. I do record in the kitchen right next to the sink, just in case. So
well, that's a great place so you can get water if you need
That's just headcanon, I believe you now.
Yeah, no, I stay hydrated when I do podcasts, so
I stay submerged.
I
I'm
always
actually taking a bath
from the bathtub.
Yeah.
I'm recording it. That reminds me of that scene from the Truman Show.
I was thinking of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but yeah.
Yeah, that works too. So Jim, you were explaining this game, I believe.
Yeah, so basically, one of these is going to be true, or no, two of these are going to be true. One of these is going to be a lie, and we will all find out at the end together which one is which, and no cheating.
Yeah, so listeners, if you want to play along, we won't be Googling anything until after the episode is recorded. Of course, you can do whatever you want, but we will reveal our answers at the end of the episode. And tradition dictates we start with our guest. So, Justin, would you like to go first?
I did go thematic this year. I've been going thematic the last couple years. So
okay,
my facts are all about beer.
Ooh.
Oh, and they're all true as far as I'm concerned.
So claim one, the most alcoholic beer in the world has an ABV of 67.5%.
Whoa, man, that's just bourbon at that point.
Yeah. Claim two, when Niels Bohr won the Nobel Prize in 1922, he was awarded a beer pipe directly into his house.
Ooh.
And claim three, the wife-carrying world championship are when men carry their wives across a pool of beer without getting their partner wet.
Huh.
Ooh,
that is so specific. I'm going to say that the 67% ABV beer is not true. Because I feel like it stops being beer after a certain point.
So I did have to look up what ABV meant.
Alcohol by volume, yeah.
Yeah. Not a drinker.
To give you an idea, most beer has an ABV of between 4 and 10, right? Mm-hmm. So I mean, if you have a traditionally heavy imperial stout, you might get into the 11s or 12s, but most beers are under 15. Most beers are under 10 actually.
Okay.
And then you get into liquors, like liquors, you measure by proof, right? So proof is out of 200. So something that is 50 proof is 25% alcohol. Something that's 100 proof is 50% alcohol. When you're talking about bourbon, if you have like an 80 proof bourbon, it's only 40% alcohol. So yeah, like 67% is very high.
Okay, fair. Ooh, I'm inclined to just kind of take Jim's word for this because I want to believe the second one, and so I'm going to say that your third one, the wife carrying. I'm going to say that was your lie.
Okay.
We'll come back to this at the end of the episode, but Jim and I both have 3 claims to also contribute. And Jim, you have said that you have 3 more space claims for us, right?
Yeah, I like to do them about space because I like space. And it's fun to look at information about space, and it's fun to talk about space. So I have 3 claims here of my own. The first one is that the sun orbits around the center of the Milky Way galaxy approximately every 230 million years.
Okay.
The second one, there are over 60 dwarf galaxies orbiting around the Milky Way. And the third one, all of the galaxies in our local group are in orbit around something called the Great Attractor.
Oh, well, that one just makes sense.
I was going to say that one sounds made up. The Great Attractor. Although that sounds like something some scientist is like, I don't know what to call this thing. It attracts stuff. Let's call it the Great Attractor. It's big.
We'll call it the Great Attractor. That's why, yeah, I think that the conciseness of the naming convention makes it plausible to me. So I'm going to put in my guess that the dwarf galaxies is the lie.
Okay.
But this is also, like, I have so little frame of reference for anything involving space.
I think the Great Divider is a bad name, and I think that one's
the
wrong.
Great Attractor.
The Great Attractor.
Great Attractor.
Okay, that's even worse.
Okay.
Which I think that one is false. I think that one's made up.
Okay.
I also have a theme this year, and it's a theme that I think both Justin and I have done before. I found a bunch of animal facts.
Ah.
Yeah.
My 3 claims are: sloths can hold their breath longer than dolphins.
Oh.
My second one is: we can genetically modify snakes to produce spider silk.
Hmm.
And number 3, wombat poop is cube shaped.
Oh man. Sloths, huh? Dolphins.
Sloths, they're basically the same animal.
Yeah, I mean, they're exactly the same animal, no question. I'm gonna go with the snake one. The snakes producing spider silk.
Okay.
I know one of these facts.
Oh, all right.
So
I wonder if it's the same fact that I think I know too.
Probably. It's one that I think makes the rounds every couple years. I also kind of think it's the snake one. I want to go on record to say that I would lean more towards the snake, but I might choose a different one just to hedge our bets, Jim. So
it's fair. It's a valid tactic for this heated competition.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna go tactically, I'll go sloth, but I want it on record that I actually think snake, but I don't think it's a good tactical. We were talking about Survivor earlier, and this is like reality show. Like, we can't both go snake, so I'm gonna go sloth.
When someone goes snake, you got to go sloth.
It's true.
We have several questions this week. I think we'll just jump into question number 1. I think we might as well go in chronological order here. Go ahead, Jim.
I see you've numbered them this year.
Yeah, I didn't think about it, and now I feel like I'm going to just like ignore the numbers. I don't know.
The one year you like misnumbered them, I don't know if it was on accident or on purpose, but
I've done both.
Yes.
It depends on which year. Because one year I tried it was like a side game to myself, and I skipped like number 8 or something and got really mad about it. And then another year I just like said question 6, question 70, question 13.
I think you said question B.
I might have said question B. Let's do that. Okay, this is question A. Question A comes to us from Martha McBurger. Why do we order chicken nuggets by the number, but French fries by size? I don't have an answer for this one, but this one frustrates me.
Yeah, I didn't think much of it until we read it out loud, and now I'm like, oh, this makes me angry because I don't know.
I'll tell you why, and it is, I think, partly an OCD thing on my part, which I don't know for sure. But chicken nuggets drive me crazy. When I order them, I think that's not enough, and then I have to count them. And if somebody just gives me if somebody said, do you want a handful of chicken nuggets? And this is totally personal, anecdotal, no scientific method involved here. But if somebody were to just say, do you want a handful of chicken nuggets? I feel like I would just be happy with whatever they gave me.
Mm-hmm. I think it's interesting because chicken nuggets aren't necessarily all the same size. If you go to a fast food restaurant, then they probably will be. But if you go somewhere where they just sort of have a bunch of chicken and they fry it, then you may get a bunch of nuggets that are very, very small. And I don't think that's fair.
Oh, that's a good point.
They should be done by weight is what I'm saying.
It should be done by... That's like chicken wings. I've had that problem with chicken wings.
Oh, yeah. Same. Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking the same thing. I was like, a lot of meat in seafood is ordered by the pound, right? You get shrimp by the pound. You don't get shrimp by you don't get 20 shrimp. You get shrimp by the pound.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Or by the ounce or whatever they measure shrimp in. I thought it was by the pound, but I guess it doesn't matter. The unfunny answer is because there are more French fries and it would be hard to...
Yeah.
But I mean, we can dive into that though, because I think the highest, this is strictly fast food, but the highest count I've seen is a 20-piece chicken nugget.
Mm-hmm.
And I think both McDonald's and Burger King have done that at some point. And I personally have never seen anything higher than a 20 count. And I'm like, how many chicken nuggets do you need before the number stops being the most appropriate way to sell them?
Yeah.
I think it's when you are the one selling them. Right?
It's when you are the one selling. That's fair.
If you're buying chicken nuggets because you want to eat them, it's you're never going to eat more than 40 chicken nuggets. I guess 40 is a lot. If you're McDonald's and they're like, do you want to buy 2,000 chicken nuggets? You're like, what? Just give me 80 pounds of chicken nuggets. This is going to get me through the day.
Chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
If you buy a bag of chicken nuggets from Costco or what have you, that's actually measured by weight. So
yeah, that makes sense.
The same thing happens with chicken strips, right? You go to a brewery or something and you order chicken strips. They're like, here's 3 chicken strips. And there's no general size for chicken strips. You can go to one place and you're like, wow, these chicken strips are real tiny. And then you go to another place and you're like, oh my God, these chicken strips are huge. But you got
this
3.
To me translates to we need to have restaurant suppliers start selling bags of French fries by the 5,000 piece bags.
I don't know if I ever told this on the podcast, but I've told it to people in my life because I thought it was incredible and I still kind of do. Is when I was a kid, they used to make these little boxes of microwave French fries, and they were in these individual slots. And I don't know how many there were. I'm going to throw a number out, maybe 40. It might have been 10 by 4 rows. Each French fry was in an individual slot. And that was so that whenever you microwaved them, every single fry would be sort of cooked to a certain amount of crispiness. Because they were it's not foil lined, but it's whatever that lining is that microwave fries tend to have in the box. And they were the best fries. I loved them. They're so good.
That is simultaneously ingenious and insane at the same time.
It really is.
Yeah.
Every time I tell someone about it, I feel like I've made it up. But no, they were real and they were really good.
That just the manufacturing cost alone to be we're going to put every fry in a well by itself.
In a well.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's such a waste.
Yeah.
Our quality assurance is...
But that's the one time I could think of where you could buy an exact count of fries, because there were I think 40 fries. I think it was 10 by 4 maybe. Or maybe it's 10 by 3. I don't know. But
with how litigious people are these days, that if McDonald's sold the fries by you're getting 30 fries and someone's I got 28 fries.
Oh, yeah, I would be that person.
Yeah.
I couldn't help it.
Yeah, but like that's the thing. Like if you buy 10 chicken nuggets and you get 9, you're going back into the restaurant and being like, "Excuse me." Like,
yeah.
I think I just did permanent damage to the rest of my life right now because I just learned that according to McDonald's testing, on average, a small fry contains 42 fries.
Huh.
that's really specific.
Right? Well, it's average.
Yeah.
But if you don't get like close to 42, I shouldn't have looked that up.
Mm-hmm. That was a mistake.
That's a scoop. The other, like, have you ever seen them do that? Like, they have little funnel scoop, right? That they,
Oh, yeah.
it's a shovel that they put it in there, and you're like, all right, as long as it looks like the fries are taller than the container, right? They're full and they're taller than the container.
Yeah.
You done a good job, right?
Yeah.
And that scoop is actually I think it's by volume specifically, but
They could measure chicken nuggets by volume if they really wanted to.
I mean, they could just put a container that is the appropriate size for a small pack of nuggets, and then it doesn't matter if the nuggets are different sizes because they'll fit.
Well, specifically, McDonald's nuggets are shapes. They are like
That's true.
They're
That's true.
legitimate shapes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A boot, a bone, a bell, and a ball are what they're supposed to be. And the only one that you can ever tell is different than the rest of them is the boot, right? You're like, I can see the boot. Yeah, they're a boot, a bone, a bell, and a ball. I looked it up because it was driving me nuts.
Is that on purpose, or is that just like how they define the like shapes that happen to occur?
I don't know for a fact, but I think that they were like, oh, like these are a kid thing. Let's make them fun shapes. But they're breaded chickens, so they don't really look like anything.
Right.
Like dino nuggets.
Yeah, like dino nuggets. There's a less logical but still valid reason as to why there are specifically. This is a Business Insider article. Why there are 4 shapes specifically. According to the company, 3 would have been too few, 5 would have been wacky.
All right, then.
So,
I agree. I think we should move on to our second question,
Okay.
which comes to us from someone named Dr. Moreau. What's better, a hippogator or a crocopotamus?
this is why you went animals this time.
Yeah.
So, when I visualize these things in my head,
Oh, okay.
I visualize the hippogator having the front end of a hippo and the back end of an alligator, and the croctopotamus having the front end of an alligator and the back end of a hippo. So I'm going to go with the hippogator because the bite strength on a hippo is too high and it needs to be nerfed. But that makes it better.
Ooh.
It's just too good.
The bite strength on a crocodile and an alligator are both also insane.
Yeah.
I mean, no matter what you get its head, it's gonna be rough.
It's an animal that I would want far from me.
So now I can go either way based on Jim's description, because I agree with that assertion of what the animal looks like based on the naming convention.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna go with hippogator largely just because I like alligators more than I like crocodiles. But if you're saying that the crocopotamus is the one that has the crocodilian head, now I feel like we just have Amit, and now I'm on board for that.
I'm also on board for that.
Amit, for those who don't know, is an Egyptian mythology. Was the devourer of hearts. It's a entity that exists in the afterlife, right?
Yeah, I'm on board for that too, actually.
I'm looking at this based purely on what kind of attributes crocodiles have versus alligators, right?
Okay.
So we know snout shape, right?
Sure.
Oh, fun fact, apparently, saltwater crocodiles have the second strongest animal bite in the world.
Oh, okay.
I think I knew that.
What's the strongest?
It's got to, let's see here. Oh, here we go. Great white shark.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think a hippogator wins out, though, because if it's got hippopotamus face, you get the bite strength, right? But alligators have webbed feet. Crocodiles don't. That means they're better swimmers now. with webbed feet.
Oh, so wait, and that's the one that has the hippo head, so they would have the webbed feet.
They'd have the webbed feet. They'd have the crazy bite strength. They'd have webbed feet. I think empirically, Hippogator is going to be the more like in a fight. Who wins that fight? Hippogator wins that fight, right? In land and sea.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we don't know what the criteria is. It's just what's better.
Yeah.
Like in a fight, that's fair. What's better to like run into as a person? I don't want to have to test.
Yeah. I mean, what's better at swimming though? You know what I mean? What's better at running and swimming?
Sure. Sure.
I feel like if we were doing a triathlon.
Yeah. Aesthetically, I think a hippo like head on an alligator body just like looks better than a little teeny tiny snappy head on a giant hippo body.
I also think hippogators are not running into copyright infringement on ancient Egyptian gods. So
that's true.
Oh, yeah, because we all know those are still trademarked.
Famously litigious, the ancient Egyptian gods.
Yeah. Mummy's alive. That's why they canceled that show.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah.
Because they're all dead. That's why.
Yeah. They're not. Those mummies aren't alive. False advertising. So, all right. Yeah. So I think we're mostly in the hippogator camp here. Sounds like. And I can get behind that. Well, those are our two questions, which traditionally on this show, we do two questions. Oh, but we actually have more questions.
Great.
So I think we might as well dive into question gamma. Question gamma comes to us from Joel. If a hot dog had legs, would it run longwise or tall style?
I think natural selection would take over here because the ones that run longwise, I'm assuming they were going to have 4 legs and they would look a lot like a wiener dog.
Ooh.
And they would be much faster and better balanced than this very tall, 2-legged with its center of gravity way up high. And that thing's going to be falling down constantly, which makes it easy prey. So they're going to be picked away from the herd. And natural selection is going to drive the evolution of the long-running style, I think.
I did not even consider them having 4 legs.
I thought you were going to say you didn't consider the fact that they evolved, because why would you? That's a stupid thing to consider.
Hold on. This is important. Derek, if they were going to run long ways with 2 legs, where would you put the legs?
Like right in the center, I think, because that makes me think. So there's actually precedence for T-Rex, right? Yeah. So that's what I was picturing.
That's wild because like I'm on Jim's side. I was like, oh yeah, if it ran horizontally, it'd have 4 legs. If it was vertically, it'd have 2 legs. But
I'm not opposed to it. I just didn't think about it.
No, that's what I'm saying. Though, I'm like, but if they were horizontal, where would you put 2 legs? Because it's a hot dog. It's long.
Yeah.
I think even if they ran T-Rex style with the legs right in the center, I think they'd still outcompete the tall ones.
Okay.
I kind of like that better than I kind of like T-Rex hot dogs more than anything I could have. Because I was sitting there going like, well, like, is a hot dog a person or an animal? Because if it's a person, it's vertical, and if it's an animal, it's horizontal. But T-Rex is kind of like, what if it was a dinosaur?
So like T-Rex is a midsection between person and animal.
Yeah, and it's like it's kind of like it runs diagonally, right? The hot dog is diagonal.
It runs diagonal. Oh,
got to keep its balance.
I think that's the answer. Really?
I think you're right.
Oh well, we sussed this one out.
Yeah,
good job, team.
We did well on that one.
Yeah, well done. We're effective.
Yeah,
we're effective. All right. Well, I guess we should move on to the next one. So, question double 2. Question double 2 comes to us from how to print e-design insurance securities.
Regular contributor to the show.
Yes. What do you want to get out of the present?
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that I've really wanted quite a lot lately is a set of those like jawbone conducting headphones. So if anyone wants to get me that as a present, that's a good present.
Okay. I feel like at this moment out of the present, I want it to be Christmas because this feels like a Santa question.
Oh, yeah.
How big is the present?
How big is the present?
It doesn't say. It could be any size, I suppose.
It just can't be any time.
Yeah.
I usually want a puppy.
Oh.
I'd like a puppy.
A dachshund. We could have the wiener dog and tie that in.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a classic Christmas present, right? You know, I mean, put the dog in a box and hope that you
punch
don't have
some
to
holes
wait
in the box.
Yeah, hope you don't have to wait 3 days to give the present to somebody. And
Yeah, if you're waiting 3 days to give somebody a present and you've chosen to give them a dog, you need to reevaluate your problem solving ability.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've done some bad. You've done some bad.
Yeah.
You've done some bad there. Yeah.
Mhm.
I think generally either I'm gonna go with like either peace on Earth or world domination. One of those. I mean, maybe both.
First one, then the other.
Yeah. Or first the second, world domination, and then I will bring about world peace.
Because there won't be any
Machiavellian.
other people to oppose.
That's how I
you.
play Civ.
Yeah.
It feels easier to do it the other way around, though, doesn't it?
Right? It should be.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You make peace with everybody and then just say, hey, can I be in charge? And everyone's like, yeah, we're at peace, whatever.
It does feel like that's the easy way to get to world domination, right? Is world peace, and then, well, that guy says he can be in charge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then that guy ends up being Tony Stark.
I mean, I was going to say that's a little bit how the evolution of Marxism turned into Stalin-esque communism.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Maybe that was too dark. Yeah, so question super prime comes to us from Rocky Balboa. How do you tune a fish? Listen, I have thoughts here.
I would love to know your thoughts.
This is legitimately the only question on this list that I actually have notes about.
All right,
so let me just run through this real quick because we got to start with what actually does it mean to tune something? What is tuning? Okay. So when we think about tuning, most of the time, not across the board, but most of the time, we are thinking of the 12 chromatic notes, which are from A to G sharp. And and to kind of explain that, not really, but like to be overly technical about it, starting at A4, which is pretty close to the middle of a piano keyboard, it is defined as 440 hertz. That is
interesting.
The frequency of that note, I believe, is what that means. Every note above that is determined by multiplying by the 12th root of 2 repeatedly. And that gives you like a half step up, so it would be like A sharp. The next one up is B, and then, et cetera, et cetera. So this is called 12-tone equal temperament, or 12 tet, and this is just a fun side fact that there are other tets. You can have 8 tet or 64 tet, and this is essentially the same as you can have other bases in math besides base 10. It's just how you distribute the frequencies of the notes and stuff, and 12 is just the most common and comfortable one. There is some experimental and avant-garde music that experiments with other tone equal temperaments, but most of the time we're in that 12. So we consider an instrument to be in tune if the notes it produces during normal operation are a subset of those notes, those 12 notes. This is called the chromatic scale. So in short, you tune a fish according to a scale.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
God, I was wondering where that was going, and I should have seen it, and I didn't.
I didn't think that there was a joke in there. I thought it was just really interesting info, and then it turned into a joke, and I was caught off guard.
Well, it was both. That was all true.
Yeah.
And I actually got this information, and I will find this link to put in the show notes. But it was a YouTube video by a channel called Chroma Lock, where they took this "How do I tune a fish?" and that was most of the technical information included. But what the person who made that video ended up doing was taking a fillet of fish and running an electrical current through it and mapping notes with a multimeter so that it would produce different tones depending on how strong the current was coming from. And I think it's like a 13-minute video where he makes basically like a stylophone out of a fillet of fish.
I thought you were going to say that he made like a xylophone out of a bunch of frozen fish of different sizes and then like...
Well, that was the other, that's another tactic you could take. I was really trying to find if there were fish that made noises, and I couldn't find one.
That was real Norm Macdonald of you. That was a very Norm joke. So I was thinking more like when you fillet a fish, they do have like bones that jut out like ribs, right? So I was like, well, what if you sanded those down to make a certain sound, almost like a xylophone, or like if you vibrate them and they make a tone. If you could hone in on the tone, you could do some work. You could take some sandpaper and you could sit down and you could probably tune a tuna. You could take a big old tuna. You could probably tune those ribs.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as funny as Derek's joke, but it is there.
I like it. Yeah, I think that maybe we shouldn't have attempted to answer this question. maybe the takeaway here.
We were better off not knowing.
You can't win them all.
A little knowledge is a dangerous thing.
Question: the maximum you can roll on a d6. It's just 6. I don't know. That one's lazy. The comes to us from the Horse Whisperer. How do we make a horse drink after leading it to water? I don't know. I've been told that we can't.
Just wait till it's thirsty. It'll drink of its own accord. Self-preservation,
Alternatively, you can use brainwashing powers.
Can you?
I don't know.
Can you brainwash a horse?
I'm stuck on...
Is that the real question?
You have to make a horse drink.
Good point.
Yeah.
Just shove it in there. It'll swallow some water by accident.
Tranquilizer darts and an endoscope.
Yeah.
I just had...
Just the right amount of horse tranquilizers, right?
Just the right amount. Oh, that's a good one, too. I just had a fairly recent episode playing in the background while I was working on an art project that we did, and I can't remember which one it was.
Was it just the right amount of horse tranquilizers?
No, that's a good one, too. No, it was the last one. It was when we talked about adding horses to a cart. And Jim, you mentioned the scene from Blazing Saddles when Mongo punches the horse. And I don't remember how we got there, but we started talking about that no horses were harmed in the making of that movie. And at one point I said, don't go punching any horses. And you were like, yeah, don't do that. And I feel like for whatever reason, we needed that to be a disclaimer in that episode. Like, I don't know that anybody's punching horses because of us.
I mean, that if you wanted to drink water, knocking the horse out is not the worst idea I've heard.
Knocking it out and then drowning it.
Drinking is not the same as drowning.
Drinking is not the same as aspirating water into your lungs. And yet, that is what I suggested and what you suggested.
That is what you both suggested, yeah. I don't...
Oh, what if you put it under a bunch of heat lamps and, like, it can't leave until it drinks?
Whoa, yeah, like encouraging it to drink, right? Like, ooh.
You just get it so hot, it has to drink.
Not one of us have come up with the idea of asking it, would you like some water?
I think you just did.
I'm just saying, like, that. I feel like we've gotten really far into this question without being like, is the horse thirsty? Does it want to drink?
I mean, okay, if we want to get existential about this, which of course we do, this really is a question of free will, right? Because, like, you can't make someone do something. Like, even asking if somebody wants to do it, they have to volunteer. You can't make someone choose something. So but you can hook a horse up to an IV. That doesn't count as drinking, though. I don't know.
What if you get real passive aggressive with it? It's like, I don't even want you to drink this water, you stupid horse.
Like, fine, don't. Don't drink.
Yeah. I don't want you to drink anyway.
I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, that's how you get kids to do stuff. I feel like horses are probably the same way, yeah.
Who's more susceptible to reverse psychology, horses or children?
Yeah.
Horses. When I think of horses, I think of like spaghetti westerns, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, are they a gambling horse? Maybe you gamble the ability to drink. You say, oh, like, hey, let's play cards, and if you lose, you got to drink this water, and then you rig
you're
the
bound
deck
by the rules.
Yeah, because the horse doesn't know that you can hide cards in your sleeves because the horse doesn't have sleeves.
Correct.
Right. They do have blankets.
Yeah.
I bet you horses are pretty bad gamblers. That's just, I mean, like,
ooh.
I don't want to say that as a blanket statement, but
that's a bold claim.
I feel
you don't want to say
confident.
that as a horse blanket statement?
Correct. Yeah.
We just did it. I'm sorry.
I'm not. What if you fill the water with a lot of really good, I guess horses eat oats. What if you just like soak a bunch of oats in water and like put the oats in the bucket with the water, and then while they're eating the oats, they're also drinking water.
Make them eat
what
the
if
water.
It doesn't want to eat. Make them eat.
So if you're not going to drink this water, you're going to eat it.
You're gonna eat it. This water is going to be consumed by you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Turn the horse upside down and pour it into its open mouth.
Okay, so that's I think ultimately the best answer we've come up with, like, genuinely. Like, that counts as drinking? That's basically force feeding, and don't do it. But
turning a horse upside down sounds like a tall order.
I don't think they like it.
No.
Are they like cows where if you push them over, they have a hard time getting back up on their feet because their joints only go one direction?
No, I don't think so. I think horses can lie down more easily.
Yeah.
More nimble.
Yeah, I mean, they still don't like it.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Who would?
I can believe that, yeah.
They're not good at gambling, and they don't like being pushed over. Those are the two things I know about horses.
Yeah.
And they can't vomit.
And they can't, yeah.
I know
that is a real fact that we all do know.
Yep. I think it comes up every time we talk about horses.
I think so, yeah.
Well, I think maybe we should move on here. So, question Lucky 7 here comes to us from Peter. How would society be different if birds were real?
We'll never know.
We'll never know. That's just like that's like one of those, like, it would be completely different. We have no way of knowing.
I mean, we would have our privacy for one, because birds are drones.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that's
fair. And they're spying on us. So
yeah,
it'd be weird. The expectation of privacy in our culture is like, it would be weird if we had that.
Yeah. Because they know when you're punching horses and forcing them to drink water.
They do, and they've been trying to put a stop to it, but some people are just out there doing it, and I don't know why.
Because they have nothing better to do. Because birds aren't real. It's not like they can go and, feed the pigeons in the park. Because
it's true. Can't punch a bird.
That's true.
Can't punch a bird.
I don't. If birds were real, I still don't think you could punch a bird.
Now, so
you shouldn't punch a bird.
You really shouldn't punch a cassowary.
That reminds me of like the fighting type Pokemon versus the flying type Pokemon.
Oh yeah.
Thing, and that. This is a super tangential question that I don't know if either of you would know, but did they do anything in Pokemon related to birds being drones? Like, is that
there is a
anything?
Metal bird? There's a metal bird that kind of looks like a military drone. I don't know if that's the point, but it does look like a drone.
Okay.
Skarmory. Every time I see like there's, I think there's like more than one like metal. Corviknight is technically metal. It's based off of, they're based off of they're based off of ravens though. So
the one I was thinking of, I guess it doesn't look so much like a bird as I thought. It's called Type Null. It is from Gen 7. It evolves into Silvally.
Oh, that's like a legendary.
Yeah, this is like a griffin-y looking thing, not so much a bird.
Yeah, there's another one that looks like a drone. It's going to bother me now because.
Okay, well, I'm sorry I've done this to you.
The thing is I don't know that many bird-type Pokemon because they don't interest me in the slightest.
Yeah, no, I see the birds and I'm like, you don't look like a raven. So I don't really care about you.
I did keep the Corviknight in my party the whole time. because
So did I.
Yeah, because it was a corvid.
What was the original question?
How would life be different if birds were real?
Oh, that's right. They're not.
It would basically be Pokemon, probably.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think it's weird, like, we have this Jungian sort of understanding of the concept of this mythological creature called a bird, but, like, we all know birds aren't real, so, like, why do we even wonder about birds?
I mean, griffins aren't real, and we still wonder about them.
You take that back, Jim.
Okay.
So are we all at least on the same page that blue jays are federal government-owned drones?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, but I accept it.
Have you seen their color scheme?
Yes. Very, very federal government-y. Yeah.
Yeah.
Red-tailed hawks. They all belong to Kansas.
The band Kansas or the state Kansas?
Yes.
Well, the state Kansas is actually run by the band Kansas.
Oh, okay.
It's seceded from the Union, like, back in the 80s.
Yes. Actually, they had a. You ever hear that song "Carry On My Wayward Son"? It's about red-tailed hawks. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that makes perfect sense, actually.
Yeah.
Carry on because they eat carrion.
Right.
They're birds of prey, but it worked for my joke.
Back in the 80s, they didn't know that because no one had ever looked at a bird before.
Yeah, because
they're not
birds
real.
aren't real. Let's move on to the next question. Sideways Infinity comes to us from Kiro Bonito. How many shrimps do you have to eat before you make your skin turn pink?
Well, we established earlier that we don't buy shrimp individually. We buy them by the pound.
That's true. So we don't count them that way.
Right. Well, how many pounds of shrimp do you have to eat before you make your skin turn pink?
I'd say at least 10.
At least 10?
Oh,
I think, is this $1, Bob? Like,
I have two very important questions about shrimp.
Sure.
One of them is shrimp one of those things that is filled with mercury?
Maybe?
Okay. And two, are shrimp like filled with vitamin A or something? Because that'll also really give you a bad time.
Will it turn you pink?
No, it'll kill you.
No.
Oh. Well, okay. I would say that's a bad time, but
It doesn't sound like a good time.
it does not sound like a good time.
Yeah.
Not to tie everything together, but we all know that flamingos, which aren't real,
Right.
are pink because they eat shrimp.
Sure.
So how big is a flamingo? A flamingo is maybe 15
I don't know,
pounds,
a cubic
10
foot.
pounds, 10 pounds, 15 pounds, right?
Oh,
That
we're
sounds
measuring by length or by poundage.
Let's
Or by
go.
volume.
Let's go by
There's
volume.
so many layers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many-
What is the volume of a flamingo?
Imagine a perfectly spherical flamingo.
Oh, flamingo? Yeah, okay. Like, larger flamingos are around 8 pounds. Smaller flamingos can be between 2 to 6 pounds. All right, so let's say that a flamingo is, 8 pounds?
Sure.
How many shrimp does it take to turn a flamingo pink? It takes about 9 ounces of shrimp a day.
Wow. Oh, a day. Okay. That's not
All
that
right,
bad.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, but then you got to scale it up, huh?
The average person is, let's say the average, and let's go 170. Or just to be on the safe side. We'll divide that by 8,
Sure.
and that's about 21. And then you take that and multiply that by, what do we say, 9 ounces? So almost 200 ounces, 191 ounces of shrimp
Okay.
to turn us pink if we were flamingos.
So what's that in pounds then? Would that be like 13 pounds or something like that?
16 ounces to a pound? Yeah, it's about 11 pounds.
Oh,
About
okay.
11, almost 12. About 12 pounds. About 12 pounds of shrimp. I mean, if you ate 12 pounds of shrimp a day, given
You'd
the
die.
only thing that I know, given the only thing I know in nature that turns pink because of what it eats are flamingos. So if we ate enough shrimp, and our bodies did the same thing that flamingos did,
That's important.
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess for science, we could eat 12 pounds of shrimp a day.
I wouldn't be opposed to that unless there's some medically ill-advised reason.
I think I'd be opposed to eating 12 pounds of anything per day.
It doesn't seem like a lot spread over the day, though, if that's all you ate.
Yeah, like I don't know.
I could crush 12 pounds of shrimp a day if I mean, like, for like a week, and then I'd probably be sick of it, but...
Yeah.
Well, sure, but like I'm thinking, because my main hang-up is shrimp is expensive. So
Yes.
like if somebody else was running this experiment and they provided me, like that's just my food, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I also don't know that I can visualize 12 pounds of shrimp because to me that sounds like an awful lot, but I know shrimps are very small.
Yeah, it is not the same as 12 shrimp.
No.
Eating too much shrimp can be dangerous primarily due to the high cholesterol content, which contributes to heart disease.
Well, fair enough.
Okay, well,
you know.
I mean,
you
like,
just have a bad diet for a while.
yeah, I mean, like, is it any worse than eating a bunch of burgers, though? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Right? Like people live on fast food.
Yeah. Hypertension because people prepare it with salt. I mean, like, there's really not. But, like, it's all the things are like high cholesterol and then, like, allergies and environmental contaminants, like stuff that's not really the shrimp's fault.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Digestive issues. Yeah, like, shrimp don't seem very dangerous to eat.
Mm-hmm. They don't have a ton of mercury in them. Although if you're eating 12 pounds of them a day, I bet that's going to build up.
Probably.
Yeah, I didn't know about specifically shrimp. I know like a lot of seafood has mercury, but the only thing that I thought of that I wanted to at least bring up was, and this is from medical dramas and television that I learned these things, but like it's always said that eating a lot of carrots could turn you yellow and eating a lot of tomatoes could turn you red.
Yeah. That happened to my sister actually when she was a baby.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she loved carrot baby food. And she ate so much carrot baby food that she started to turn orange, and we thought she had jaundice.
I was
going to say too many carrots.
Yeah.
Did they worry she had jaundice?
That's terrifying. Jaundice is scary.
Yeah.
She
was already a preemie, so we were like, "Oh, great, something else." And it turned out she just ate too many carrots.
That's wild, but that's true for babies at least. Carotenoids are the thing that turn flamingos pink.
Okay, so keratin.
So the stuff in carrots, right?
Yeah.
Just eat carrots instead. I wonder how many pounds of carrots you have to eat.
It's a lot. I bet there's actually precedence for that.
An orange or red plant pigment found in carrots and many other plant structures. But like, yeah, it's wild that there's a bunch of it in shrimp.
Where are they getting it down there?
If it's true, if it's true that you can turn orange by eating too many carrots, like on a certain level though, then could this actually work for a person? If you ate 12 pounds of shrimp a day for like a month, would you start to turn like orangey pink?
I wonder, because I wonder if it would be more yellow than pink in humans.
You would look like you had jaundice. Would it give you jaundice?
Does it kill your liver?
So it looks like if you eat 10 carrots a day for a few weeks, that will turn your skin orange, which is not a lot of carrots, actually.
No, that's not.
Easier than 12 pounds of shrimp.
Agreed,
sure is.
Yeah.
How long does it take to turn back? Because I'm considering.
I don't know. I wonder.
That's not a lot of carrots.
It really isn't.
I'm looking on the Cleveland Clinic's website, and that's what they're claiming.
I mean, Cleveland Clinic is pretty reliable.
Yeah.
Now, here's what I wonder, though, because I know some people that like just like to snack on carrots, and I feel like they do eat that many carrots. So, like, would you have to eat that and like also not eat other things?
I don't think it matters if you don't eat other things. I think it's just that if you eat like a lot of foods high in that. So, because like on the list here, it's got carrots and apricots and cantaloupes and mangoes and oranges and pumpkin and squash and sweet potatoes and yams.
Ooh.
I bet sweet potatoes and yams have a lot of that.
That makes sense because they're very orange.
Yeah, it does say that excess beta carotenes in your blood latch onto areas in the body that have thicker skin. So palms, soles, knees, elbows, folds around the nose. Can be more obvious if you have lighter skin. Skin color discoloration will be more visible as you eat more beta carotene rich foods. So like, I think it's just more like, how much of this stuff are you actually eating?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, this says skin discoloration will return to normal in a few months.
Ooh.
And that's you can tell you don't have jaundice because your eyes stay white.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Well, this was way more useful information. Well, I don't know if useful is the right word, but way more interesting information than I thought we were going to get here.
Yeah.
We have a few more questions. I think maybe we should jump into and question. I didn't do that on purpose. That was apt for this next one. Question IX comes to us from Pudding Diver 3. Specifically, where in the pudding is the proof?
It's under the crust, right?
Under the crust?
Under the crust. Yeah, you got to lift up the crust, and there's pudding under it.
Okay. Oh, I feel like we're picturing two different kinds of puddings.
I don't know, because as I understand it, the full version of that saying is the proof of the pudding is under the crust. And
oh, is it really?
I've heard that, and I just assumed that this was like, in the 1800s when you'd make pudding, it would develop a crust because we didn't know how to make pudding that didn't do that at the time.
Weird. I've just heard the expression "the proof is in the pudding."
I've heard that too, actually, now that you mention it.
I've never considered like where that comes from or what it's intended to mean.
Does pudding need a proof?
You gotta get some like 40 proof pudding.
For 20% alcohol pudding.
So traditional pudding does not need to proof.
Yeah, because you do that with baking. You do it with like breads and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
If you look at like a figgy pudding or something, because the original meaning of the word pudding is not the goopy dessert food that we think of in today's America, but like a figgy pudding was closer to like a fruit cake, which is baked.
You have bread pudding, but bread pudding is made
pudding
of bread that's already been made, usually.
That's true. Yeah, usually leftover bread.
Yeah.
And the crusts and stuff.
I think that the version that I've heard, the proof of the pudding is under the crust, is from Charlie Brown, and that's just where that comes from.
Oh,
because I Googled it, and I think it's just from Charlie Brown.
Well, according to Google, the proof is in the pudding means you can only judge something by trying it. That's what that's supposed to mean.
That makes sense. You don't know if pudding is good until you actually taste it. It might be pudding. It might be, I don't know, hair gel. It could be Orajel.
It might be pudding. It might be hair gel. Those are
those are the two options.
You don't know till you try it. The proof is in the pudding. You just got to try it and see if it is in fact pudding. You got to prove that it's pudding.
You got to prove it's pudding.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the original expression is the proof of the pudding is in the eating.
See, that makes a lot more sense.
Which is a proverb from the 14th century, and I guess they shortened it in like the early 1900s, according to Wikipedia.
Makes sense.
Okay, that does make the proof is in the pudding. I would not have interpreted that, but the proof is in this act. Yeah. Okay. So that's where it is, then. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. We found it.
Yeah.
I didn't expect there to be an actual answer to that.
Well,
all right.
Here it is.
Okay, I just want to take this moment to say, before I reveal what the final question is to the listener, this was not scripted. This was not planned. I am blown away at how much all of these questions have related to everything we've talked about on the show already.
Yeah. They all are very like, we found threads the entire time we've been doing this, which is not always the case.
Yeah. Improv.
So yeah, I guess so. So with that in mind, question 2, but in binary, comes to us from Arthur Dent. What's so unpleasant about being drunk?
Well, you got to ask a glass of water.
Yeah, that is the punchline. But we've been talking about alcohol and proofing things
and drinking water.
Drinking water. Yeah. So being drunk, if I was being drunk, I feel like that would be very unpleasant because I'm not a liquid.
Yeah. Oh, that's the thing. Like, in order to be drunk, you would have to be pulped into a liquid, and so you'd die.
Sure. So that's the unpleasant part.
Yeah.
The preparation is what's unpleasant about being drunk.
Yeah.
I mean, you're 70% water, so you could be juiced correctly. You wouldn't survive the process.
Most alcohol is like mostly water too, right?
Mm-hmm.
The difference between us and like a bottle
alcohol.
the difference between us and a beer is a percentage of alcohol that we could probably get to if we were drunk enough. So, could I be a beer if I drank enough beer?
I don't think a human could get to be up to around like 6% ABV. I think that would kill them.
Can a human be fermented?
That probably.
I mean, anything can be fermented at a certain point, right?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you go. Well, Jim, I want to ask you a question related to something that you said a little bit ago, and this is going to be a little bit of a deep cut, but I want to say it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Is the correct way for a person to be juiced horizontally or vertically?
I'm gonna say vertically, not vertically. Sorry, I want to say horizontally because there's a much larger surface area when you're lying down under the press.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Hard disagree.
As it should be.
I feel like you have to juice multiple times then, right? Because
ooh,
yeah, I assume the press is not going to cover the entire human being. Where if you're vertical, I mean, yeah, it's a little bit taller, but then you juice in one quick motion.
I'm picturing those like YouTube videos of the hydraulic press that like everything shoots out, and that's just like, would you rather be standing upright or? Oh, that's a morbid thought.
I remember watching them do that to a pineapple, and it turned into something unrecognizable.
I think most things do when they do that.
Yeah.
So Jim, beer is 90 to 96% water.
Okay.
I wonder, because we're like 80% water, right?
Like 70, I think.
70% water. So
70, 80, what's the difference?
How drunk would we have to be the equivalent of the beer we were drinking in alcohol?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because we have a measurement of how drunk somebody is, right? Like 0.08 is over the legal limit and stuff like that.
Your blood alcohol, right?
Your blood alcohol content, right? So if ABV, alcohol by volume, right? If beer is 90% water, and then by volume, the alcohol in that is a certain percentage, right? How many beers would I have to drink to be the equivalent of alcohol by volume that the beer that I'm drinking is?
Oh, that's so much math.
If you have a 2-gallon container and a 4-gallon container, get exactly 3 gallons.
Now, I did look it up.
That's what that reminds me.
If your blood alcohol content is over 0.4%, that is potentially fatal. So that may be a limiting factor in this.
Yes.
So the answer is we can't.
We can't. Yeah, impossible.
It's impossible because you can't. Well, you can't keep drinking it when you've died.
So okay, that's the crux of it. I was going to say it's not impossible if you do it on purpose,
unless we hang you upside down and pour it into your mouth. Because then we're making you drink.
If you flush out a person's blood and replace it with gin,
you could drink that amount of alcohol exactly once. You're gonna think once.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Then it's just like an endurance test, right?
Yeah, Jim's very famous last words, you can eat anything once.
That was Allie's famous last words, actually.
It's true, yeah.
For the listeners who don't know Allie, it was not her last words. She's still alive.
She very much so, yes.
If she plays her cards right, it could be her last words. We don't know.
I mean, I think she wants it to be. It was not yet her last words.
No. At time of recording, they were not her last words.
Surrounded by friends and family when she's 95 years old, and she goes, "You can eat anything once." And then she dies, and her grandkids are like, "What?"
And
they're all like, "She's right, but what?"
She's right, but what? That's the reaction I want people to have when I die. Whatever it is that I say, I want people to be, he's right, but what?
Where did that come from? Has he been prepping this for 90-some years? Like, I don't understand.
Why did he say that? I mean, he's totally right, but like, what did that have to do with anything?
Yeah. No wonder about it for the rest of their lives, too.
Yeah. That's my legacy.
Yeah.
That's fun. That's fun. Say something to your grandkids where they're going to be like, you're right, but what does that mean?
Yeah.
I can't argue with the logic, but I don't know why you said it.
Yeah.
On their deathbed, they'll be like, why did Grandpa say that to me? Like,
Yeah. And then their grandkids will be like, what did he say? What did he say? And then that'll be it. And the cycle repeats.
Thing, then. Okay. It sounds like this has devolved further into inanity, so we might as well. Earlier in the episode, we gave you a bunch of claims, and 3 of those claims were lies, and I think we're going to go over which ones they were. So might as well go in the same order.
Mm-hmm.
Take it away, Justin.
yeah, all right. So as a reminder, claim number 1 for me. The most alcoholic beer in the world has an ABV, or alcohol by volume, of 67.5%. That one is true.
Oh, man.
Okay.
A Scotland brewery called Brewmeister produces a beer called Snake Venom, which is 67.5% alcohol. The beer is frozen several times and ice is removed from the batch, and then they fortify the beer with additional alcohol, bringing the ABV up to about 67.5.
Oh, interesting. That's not that different than how ice wine is made, I guess.
Yeah, it does sound very similar to the way that they make ice wine, where they freeze it and then take the water out. Yeah, so because ice wine is traditionally very sweet because they take the water out and it's just sugar left.
Yeah.
This is though like it's really viscous, and the brewery itself on the label recommends that you only drink it in 35 milliliter measures at a time. It is higher in alcohol content than a lot of liquors.
Yeah, yeah.
I tried looking it up. There's really no scholarly or empirical consensus on what makes beer. Like whether it is like the fermentation process or the ingredients used, or like, so there's really no like universal definition of what makes a beer. There's a lot of like colloquial definitions and, things like that. But if it's fermented and it has malts in it, that's a pretty good sign that what you're doing is making beer. So I think that by most accounts, the way that they brew this is probably considered beer and not liquor, because it's not fermented in the same way that distilled rather. It's not distilled like liquor is. So I think that's why it is still beer.
That makes sense.
Claim number 2. When Niels Bohr won the Nobel Prize in 1922, he was awarded a beer pipe directly into his house. That one is true.
I thought I did hear that at some point.
After he was awarded the Nobel Prize, the Carlsberg Brewery gifted him a house that was next to the brewery, which included a literal pipe directly into the house that was attached to a tap, and Niels Bohr could just go over and pipe fresh beer from the tap from the brewery directly into a glass and drink it.
I love that.
Apparently the Carlsberg Brewery was like super into science, and they were like,
that's awesome.
Really, really into what he was doing. Cause like they were like trying to find more efficient ways to brew beer and distill like spirits and stuff like that. And they were like, you get free beer whenever you want. And they gave him that. Which means my claim number 3 is the false claim. Claim number 3 was the wife carrying world championship is where men carry their wives across a pool of beer without getting their partner wet. While the wife carrying world championship is a real thing that has been held annually in Finland since 1992, the contestants merely carry their partners across 2 dry obstacles and usually a water obstacle, no beer.
Okay.
Several types of carrying is permitted in this. A classic piggyback, a fireman's carry where they throw the woman over their shoulder, or the Estonian style carry where the wife is upside down on the back with her legs over the neck and shoulders of her husband. All this being said, the winner of the challenge every year is awarded his wife's weight in beer whenever they're done. So
interesting.
So beer does tie into it.
And then recently, as of 2023, they have changed the term wife to mean just whoever your partner is in the race. So it doesn't have to be a woman. They don't have to be a straight couple, all that kind of stuff too. So they've kind of shifted to be more inclusive with the wife carrying world championship.
They really opened it up to the world.
Win your partner's weight in beer if you can. So
Okay.
that's a rough one, right? You're like, do I marry a very, very tiny person that I can carry very quickly and easily and win, but then get less beer? Or do I marry a larger person and potentially have a tougher time, but get more beer?
Yeah. The strength training alone is going to take up a lot of your time.
Priorities, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, shall we have Jim reveal
Sure.
your space facts?
Yes.
The first one here that I wrote down, the sun orbits around the center of the Milky Way every 230 million years. That is, I should say approximately, because that is in fact true.
Okay.
And we don't know the exact number yet. I just took the average. It's like between 220 and 240. So like approximately 230 million years.
That's where I was like, the lie was that, no, we don't actually know the number. That was the lie.
No, that's a true one. Okay. It's a long trip. Last time we were in this position around our galaxy, it was the early Triassic. So dinosaurs were just getting going.
Oh, okay.
All right, so number 2 here. There are over 60 dwarf galaxies orbiting around the Milky Way. That is, in fact, true.
Okay.
So I should point out, we're not entirely certain that they are all orbiting the Milky Way, but we have a pretty good idea that at least 60 of them probably are. Or at least they are gravitationally bound to the Milky Way. But that one's the true one there. And then so that means that the local group of galaxies orbiting around something called the Great Attractor, that is actually false.
Wow.
Now,
Justin, you got it.
I should mention the Great Attractor does exist. We don't know what it is because it is actually on the exact opposite side of our galaxy. So we have to look through like the entire galaxy to see it, and we can't do that. But the object exists, and things are not in orbit around it. Things are retreating away from it much more slowly than other galaxies are retreating away from one another in deep space. So there's something big there that is slowing down the expansion of galaxies, but we don't know what it is because it's like straight through the center of our galaxy.
Like the biggest, blackest hole that's ever been.
It could be, yeah.
Like black holes are just like big, dense, world, like universe bending.
Yeah.
Time slowing.
Beefy boys.
Hate it. Hate all of that. Don't like it.
You sounded like a villain in a Western calling out a...
Yeah, so in summation, space is terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Everything out there will kill you, and it doesn't care about you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of things that don't care about you, I don't know. That's depressing, I guess. But...
Speaking of things that don't care about you, I want to go.
I want to go, guys. Oh, I meant because mine are about animals, but I like your interpretation better. I'll pretend I did that on purpose. All right. I'm going to go in mixed order, not specifically reverse order, just because I want to go in order of stuff I have the least to say about, ascending to stuff I have the most to say about. So I will start with my third fact was wombat poop is cube-shaped, which, based on context clues, I'm going to guess that this is the fact that Justin knew.
Yes.
Yeah, that's also the fact that I knew.
Oh,
yes.
Is it? Okay. So that's interesting. I genuinely did just learn this recently. But yeah, because of the unique structure of their intestines, which have areas of varying elasticity that squeeze the feces as it travels through the colon, wombat poop comes out in a cube-shaped pellet that looks artificial. Wombats have a very long digestive process, allowing them to extract maximum nutrients from their food, contributing to it being drier and able to hold its shape. And scientists believe the cube shape prevents the poop from rolling away, making it more effective for marking territories on rocky and uneven ground. And I'm not going to dispute that theory, but I do think that it is odd that we have to explain why an animal poops a certain shape. Like they don't do it on purpose. So like, I don't know.
No, but I could see why they would want to know about it, because there must be a benefit to it, or it wouldn't have happened in the first place.
Sure. Yeah. I didn't say it was dumb. I found it odd.
Yeah.
Like
it is funny that they had to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's also not necessarily true. Like, there could just not be a detriment to it, right? There might not be a benefit to have it. It could just not be detrimental and kill them off.
That's kind of where I was coming from on that. So but either way, yeah. So that one was true. And My second fact, sloths can hold their breath longer than dolphins. So dolphins, on average, can hold their breath for 8 to 10 minutes, which is an existentially terrifying thought to me, because aquatic mammals have to come up for air, or they don't have
or
air.
They don't come up to air.
Or they don't come. Yeah. And so when I was always under the impression, well, then they must be able to hold their breath for a really long time. 10 minutes doesn't feel like it's long enough.
Yeah.
But I did learn that dolphins can go a little higher than that, depending on the species, up to 15 to 20 minutes, because they have the ability to slow their heart rates down to conserve oxygen in times of like stress, or like if they can't get to the surface.
Oh.
So that's good. If they need to hold their breath longer, I guess they can just hold their breath longer.
Mm-hmm.
However, the reason I bring up slowing down their heart rates is because sloths also have the ability to slow their heart rate down to conserve oxygen and energy, because they barely move. And due to this, they can hold their breaths for up to 40 minutes, which means they can, in fact, hold their breath longer than dolphins.
See, that's kind of what I thought, because I was like, these things are so slow that their heart pumps once every 6 minutes.
Which means we come to our final thing, and I'll be like complete transparency here. I tried really hard to make the other two sound more ridiculous, but I was still pretty sure this one was going to be caught as the lie, which doesn't bother me at all, because I just really wanted to bring up the reason I said this. So I said we can genetically modify snakes to produce spider silk. So due to advancements in CRISPR research, it is actually conceivable that we could do this. Like there's speculatively, we think like maybe we could make them do that. However, we never have and haven't proven it. So that's where it was a lie. But we have done this with goats.
Yeah.
We have found that if you implant spider genes into goats, they can produce spider silk in their milk, which when I first heard about it, I was like, that's a weird thing to research. But there's actually a reason. There's actually a benefit to this. There are spider goats currently that are located at Utah State University in a farm in Wellsville. And they are spider goats. They have the ability to produce spider silk. And these goats are milked twice a day, producing a milky, thread. This is spider webs. Why do we do this? Because spider silk is actually a really durable material that is good for a lot of things, like making fibers and coatings and protective material similar to like Kevlar. And most commonly, artificial ligaments for people who have joint injuries.
Oh, wow.
But spider silk is really hard to farm. Like it takes a really long time, and it's just not an efficient process at all. There is a video of a guy who went to somewhere, I think in Africa somewhere, and farmed a bunch of spider webs and tried to make guitar strings out of them. He was able to make one guitar string, I think, after like a month. And it broke pretty quickly. So they learned that if they make goats who can produce spider silk, they can have goats like manufacture more spider silk for them, and then it becomes a resource. And I just thought that was bizarre enough to mention here.
That's very weird.
Yeah.
Way weirder than the other two things you talked about.
Yep. Yeah, that is science fact or fiction, and a lot of, well, we talked about a lot of weird stuff in there. So you listeners, if you have any thoughts on anything that we talked about there, or anything else, you can email, because there are these people that do this show Vaguely Scientific, which we aren't doing. But if you want to talk to them about anything we talked about, you can email them at feedback@vaguelyscientific.com. Or you can comment on our blog, or you can like us on Facebook, or you can follow us on Blue Sky @Vaguely Scientific. But before we wrap up, I think Jim has a treat for us.
Yeah, I always like to collect all of the wonderful, wonderful comments that we get on our blog that don't quite make the cut because they are clearly spam. And I just like to read them because they are so much fun. So I'll start right here at the top because I got a list of these. So this first one comes to us from International Economics Association, and it reads, in 1880, he produced the very first set of mixer faucets that typically regulated the temperatures of the water that it discharged.
Who?
Oh, that was the entire comment.
In 1880, he produced, okay. I don't know who they're referring to.
Yeah. I wonder if that's true, and if it is, we could probably find out, but I'm not gonna. This next one comes to us from Nitori Sauce Plate, and it says, paint winner in rectangle throughout front of shirt and add vertical stripes before and after the word.
Winner in rectangle throughout front of shirt and vertical. Okay. If they want us to design a shirt to put on the Vaguely Scientific store, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen weirder shirts out there in the world. This next one comes to us from Medicare Foods Exhibition. While it may appear daunting, changing a typewriter ribbon is akin to pulling a rabbit out of a hat.
That is...
I don't think that's true.
Well,
I also feel
sense,
like pulling a rabbit out of a hat might be daunting to some people.
I mean, in that it requires technical skill. If you're talking about doing the magic trick, like if you just have a rabbit in a hat, I don't think that's difficult to accomplish. But I don't know. Okay, that one technically would have fit in with the rest of our questions for this episode.
That's true. Yeah. This next one here comes to us from Miyajima Tide Table. And it says, the mental property rights are owned by Warner Brothers.
No, they are not. They're owned by us. We own them. We are not a subsidiary of Warner Brothers.
Right.
Though if they want to sponsor us, they're welcome to.
Yeah, but I don't want them to own us.
I don't want them to own us. We're not going to. They can't buy us out.
So this next one comes to us from Ankka Karamat Shankar. Well, I do not realize is actually how you're no longer actually a lot more well appreciated than you may be now. You're so intelligent. You understand, therefore, considerably on the subject of this matter, made me personally believe it from numerous various angles. It's like men and women don't seem to be involved until it's something to do with Lady Gaga. Your own stuff's outstanding. At all times, maintain it up.
Parts of that I could follow grammatically were very nice.
Yeah. I chose this one because we get a lot of the ones that are just like empty platitudes, and it's like, all right, whatever. But this one is just like the fact that it's like men and women don't seem to be involved until it has something to do with Lady Gaga. I'm like, what?
You're right, but what?
Yeah, exactly.
You're right, but what? Yeah, that's a T-shirt. You're right, but what?
I like it.
Yeah,
you're right, but what?
This next one comes to us from Anissa Tursler 53. I believe he can be cool, however, not his friends.
Is this the same? Is this the Fawcett guy?
It could be. I don't know the Fawcett guy's friends.
That's a shame.
That seems kind of mean-spirited. I think he can be cool, but his friends seem like dullards.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't design a faucet, so I guess.
That's also true.
Mixer faucet typically regulated the temperature of the water that it discharged. They didn't have anything to do with that.
No. This next one comes to us from I Am Doing. Yes, it's your event, and sure, you paid tons of money for it, but within the meantime, you can, in any case, be dealt with like these respectable visitors you welcomed who do not stress over event coordinations or any such points of curiosity, however, then are handled like sovereignty, and get the chance to taste every delicacy on offer.
So it started off strong.
Yeah.
And then
I don't know why this stuck out to me because a lot of that didn't make any sense, but coordinations is possessive.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why that made me laugh.
I'm trying to figure out where sovereignty plays into the entirety of
I'm guessing it was a translation of royalty because it's like they are handled like royalty, or it says they are handled like sovereignty, but I'm guessing it's supposed to be like treated like royalty, maybe.
That one started off like the first sentence felt right, Felt like it was going somewhere. And then I don't know what happened.
Yeah. So this one here comes to us from How to Say Invite to Your House. Sonic the Hedgehog is the show's star, and this cake prominently options Sonic as the main character.
I mean, I am frankly thrilled that finally, after all these hints we've been dropping over 5+ years, that somebody picked up all the clues that this has been Sonic has been the main character in the background the entire time.
Mm-hmm. He's always in the recording booth with us. He's just never said anything because we can't afford his voice actor.
That's right. Jaleel White is a very, very expensive cameo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting that you pulled Jaleel White for Sonic.
Yeah, I was thinking Roger Craig Smith.
I was thinking Ben Schwartz.
I love how we all picked a different one.
We're all generational here. We're all like the same age.
This next one comes to us from Drain Unblocking Guilford. At this time, I am going away to do my breakfast. After having my breakfast, coming yet again to read more news.
Those are my favorite ones, just to hear you read them.
Yeah.
I like when they're like just a long string of you reading all of the typos.
Yeah. This one, you know what? This next one, actually very appropriate for the whole show. This is the last one here for us today. And this comes from Andres Expal. Hi, all. We are cheerful dolphins. We live in Bali and have no problems. Our lifestyle is a bit of work and play. We love surfing the waves and just chilling. We found our best friends are capybaras. They stand perfectly on boards and surf on the surface of the ocean. We have a great time with them. If you want to take a break from the drab everyday life, come to us. Dolphins and capybara surfers are waiting in Bali.
I love that one. I just love it.
Can you reach back out to them, Jim?
Find out if any of this is true.
I want to go.
I want to know how long they can hold their breath.
Oh, that's a good point.
Do you think it's like it still flabbergasts me that dolphins who live underwater could not watch an entire episode of Scooby-Doo without going back up for air.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm like, when do they sleep?
Yeah.
I know there's something about like they half sleep or something.
Oh yeah, they like switch off half their brains or something.
Something like that. But yeah, that I think that's wild. That aquatic mammals.
Mm-hmm. I love how everything kind of came full circle throughout this whole episode, and it was not planned at all.
Not planned at all.
Well, that was our great spam for 2024 and 2025 so far. And hopefully you enjoyed this wonderful April Fools expedition along with us.
Yeah, so Jim, for the rest of the year, if people want to send in questions, how do they do that?
Yeah, if you want to send in real questions that we will actually try to answer, you can email us at questions@vaguelyscientific.com. If you want to get our episodes the minute that they're released, you can subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and all the other great places that cool podcasts like to hang out. And subscribing and leaving feedback really helps us out, and so does telling your friends.
Tell all your friends.
Our Vaguely musical intro is composed by Anthony Pizzelli, and don't forget to check out our merch store over at vaguelyscientific.threadless.com. You know, I was just thinking we have the shirt that says "Living the Semi-Aquatic Horse Lifestyle," and I forgot about that shirt until I saw it the other day, and it ties back into this episode because we talked about horses in water.
Yeah,
those horses could live the semi-aquatic horse lifestyle.
And you can also get those designs on things other than t-shirts, like mugs and shower curtains and skateboards.
Yeah. We've never sold a skateboard. You got to turn it around, audience.
Somebody's got to get that first skateboard.
Yeah. Imagine you'll be the first one, and we'll tell everyone about it.
We'll send you a handwritten note that says, "Congratulations on being the first person who bought a skateboard."
Yeah. You'll have to give us your address.
Yeah.
If one of your listeners buys me a badly shaped frog skateboard, I will learn how to skateboard and YouTube it, video it. It will not be pretty. It will not be fun for me. It might be fun for you. So,
well, you'll get what you deserve in that one.
Yeah. There's a skate park not far from my house.
Buy Jim a skateboard too, and he'll learn with me.
You know what? Buy us all skateboards.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
That would be great.
And yourself. and we can all have skateboards together.
Yeah, we'll have 4 skateboards, and 3 of them will be ours, and 1 of them will be yours.
Yeah.
That's it. If you buy all 3 of us skateboards, we will make a special video teaching ourselves how to skateboard and probably failing pretty spectacularly.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you to Justin for hanging out with us and not recording a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
No, why would I?
Yeah, I don't know. It's why would anybody ever do that?
Nah.
Well, for what it's worth, I am not Derek.
I'm probably not Jim.
I still haven't been paid.
No, you haven't.
You never will be. Happy April Fool's Day.
Toodaloo, everyone.
Bye.
Well, hopefully his job pays him.
No, he's never been paid in his entire life, and you just need to like stick up for yourself, Justin.
Yeah, you gotta be more assertive. Tell your boss, hey, I'm working over here.
I get paid in smiles and skateboards. That's what people don't know about me.
That's right. Yeah, buy Justin a skateboard. It's the only income he'll ever receive. We start with our guest. So, Justin, would you like to go first?
Tradition, yes. All 1 year of tradition. You know,
yes.
The funny thing is, I opened up my vaguely scientific OneNote notebook, and I have April Fool's notes from 2023 and 2025. But for some reason, last year's is actually missing from my notes. I don't know why. So,
eerie.